Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, we continue following the heartfelt journey of CEO James and his wife, Diep. A story that has already captured so many hearts. What began as a tale of love and struggle has blossomed into a portrait of sacrifice, resilience, and unshakable devotion. In previous episodes, we saw James and Diep unite in marriage, not just as husband and wife, but as true emotional anchors for one another. Soon after, they opened their home and their hearts to little Nhi, an adopted daughter who had once known only hardship. For the first time in her life, she was wrapped in the warmth of a complete family. Her laughter filled their home like a melody they never wanted to end, and just when happiness seemed complete, another blessing arrived. Diep became pregnant. Their small home glowed with expectation, anticipation, and the quiet joy of awaiting new life. Yet they never allowed Nhi to feel less loved. Every moment reinforced that she was, and always would be, an irreplaceable part of their family. But as life often reminds us, joy and trial walk hand in hand. Today, this young family faces a test that may either shatter their peace, or forge their love into something even stronger. Morning light in the countryside. At dawn, the countryside stirred gently awake. Mist lingered above the rooftops, while the sun's first rays broke through the leaves like strands of molten gold. The air was rich with the scent of dew and fresh grass, a fragrance that promised renewal. Diep began her day as always, smoothing back her hair, slipping into her familiar brown shirt, and carrying a bamboo basket into the garden. The pear trees stood heavy with fruit, dewdrops glistening on each round surface like jewels. Carefully, she picked them, each pear a small promise of sweetness. The thud of fruit in the basket blended with birdsong and the wind in the leaves, creating a rural symphony of labor. When her baskets were full, she balanced them on a carrying pole and walked the red earth path toward the village market. Farmers, children, and neighbors greeted her warmly, their lives intertwined in daily rhythm. The market scene. By the time Diep reached the market, it was alive with chatter and color. Vendors called out their wares beneath bright tarps. Piles of vegetables, fish, and cloth created a mosaic of abundance. Diep found her corner and arranged her pears with care, stacking them into neat, inviting piles. Soon, voices rose around her stall, customers praising the fruit, others bargaining with friendly smiles. What kept them returning was not only the pear's fragrance but also the warmth of her presence. Every word she spoke carried sincerity. Every smile, a sense of welcome. Her stall quickly became one of the busiest in the market. Amid the noisy bustle, Diep's gentle manner stood out like a soft flame that drew people in. James and little NHI. Meanwhile, James took the chance to collect NHI from school. The short walk home was precious to him. Her small hand nestled in his, her voice bubbling with stories, about her teacher's praise, a friend's candy, or the chore of cleaning the classroom. James listened intently, his heart swelling with pride. At home, he cooked her a simple meal, rice, chicken, and soup with fresh greens. He cooled the food carefully before setting it in her bowl, urging her not to rush. Their mealtime was filled with giggles and little stories, each bite a ritual of love. Afterward, he brought out paper and crayons, guiding her through coloring and simple English words. Apple, banana, cat. Each word she repeated with earnest joy, her laughter ringing like music through the house. James sat quietly, his chest full of pride at this small but profound happiness, an evening of shared effort. Later, James prepared dinner while Diep returned from the market. She found her husband in an apron, sweat beading his brow, his hands steady with care. The scene made her laugh, soft, tender, cleansing. Together, they adjusted the soup, chopped scallions, and set the table. When the meal was ready, the family gathered under the glow of an oil lamp. NHI chattered about her drawings and her new English words. Diep served her daughter lovingly, while James looked on with quiet satisfaction. Their modest kitchen became more than a room, it became a sanctuary, pulsing with warmth and belonging. James's late-night work. When the house grew silent, James remained awake in his study. By lamplight, he reviewed contracts and drafted agreements, work that would secure not only his family's future but also that of local farmers who depended on him. He worked with diligence, his pen scratching across the paper, every clause reviewed, every figure considered. This was more than business, it was responsibility. It was trust. Before sending the draft to his colleague Hong, James paused, knowing that mistakes were not an option. This, too, was love, quiet, unseen, but essential. A visit to his mother. One late afternoon, James visited his mother. The bougainvillea bloomed at her gate, pink petals drifting in the breeze. Yet inside, the house felt heavy with silence. His mother sat waiting, her tea long grown cold. Her words weighed heavily. Your father says there is no need to keep NHI now that you and Diep have your own child. He wants her returned to the orphanage. The words struck James like a blow. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then, with steady resolve, he spoke, Mother, I cannot. NHI is our daughter. She belongs with us. I will never abandon her. A son's vow. His mother, torn between love and tradition, explained his father's fears, gossip, relatives, loss of face. But James was unyielding. Taking her frail hands in his, he declared with unwavering clarity, "Raising NHI is not a burden. It is our honor. It is my responsibility. And I will protect her to the very end." Tears filled his mother's eyes. At last, she nodded, her voice trembling, "I will stand by you." "I will protect NHI, too, even against your father if I must." In that moment, a sacred promise was forged. A family embraced. That night, James sat on the sofa with Diep and NHI nestled close. His wife's head rested gently against his shoulder, while NHI clung tightly to both parents, her smile radiant with security. James tightened his embrace, his eyes fixed ahead, calm, determined, unbreakable. A narrator's voice rose softly over the scene. Life is never free of trials. Storms will come, and paths will be uncertain. But with love, trust, and steadfast resolve, any hardship can be overcome. This family, bound by devotion, will remain a haven of peace, a firm anchor against the tides of the world. The glow of the oil lamp filled the room. Outside, the bougainvillea swayed, its petals falling like silent witnesses to James's vow to protect his daughter, his wife, and the fragile but unshakable dream they had built together.